Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to a new episode of Hot Mic. I will be joined by 4 players from the CWL Pro League, some of the best Call of Duty players in the world. It's a panel show. We're going to cover everything from the league to activities outside of COD as well, but it should be a hell of a lot of fun. First off, I'm your host, Maven, but let's introduce our guest. First up, directly to my left, Josh from Red Reserve, the EU powerhouse. How you doing, pal?
Doing pretty good. Obviously excited for a big week ahead to secure playoffs and then hopefully a good seeding going into Atlanta and then playoffs in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we've got, what, over, I think, $1 million on the line between Atlanta, Birmingham, the playoff for Stage 1. A lot of money up for grabs here in the coming month. But next up, we've got Damon Barlow, Karma of Optic Gaming. How you doing, sir? Yes, Damon, you look incredibly excited to be here. Wonderful smile. I'm going to be completely open and blunt with you guys. Damon didn't show up for Hot Mic, so I decided to get a mannequin out of storage and create Damon so that we could still experience a very fun show with him, and also I want to roast his ass throughout this entire thing. But we'll keep moving along. Next up, Loony from Rise Nation, the top team right now in Division A. How you doing, sir?
Good, man. Feeling great.
This is we're going to talk more about the team, but you guys have been incredible. Real quick, what do you think like the biggest key to success for this squad right now?
I think our flex player. I think flex players are huge in this game, and I think we have one of the best in gunless, so I think that's our key.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, we'll talk more about it, but it's been awesome to see this Rise Nation team continue to dominate. And then the APAC Wonder Kid on the end. We've got Buzzo from MindFreak, a veteran here on Hot Mic. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, good, man. Here for my 20th time or something along the lines of that.
I did ask. I've asked your teammates multiple times to come on. They're like, nah, Buzzo's aren't.
Honestly, I sit there, I'm like, yeah, guys, I think you should probably go on, you know, like build your profiles up or something, do something, get on the show, you know, and they're like, yeah, I'm just going to ignore the email. I'm just like, what? They're like, I'll get Albert to sort it out. I'm like, oh my. All right.
Okay. Well, we'll keep moving along with the show. We usually like to show kind of a video to kick things off. There was a pretty hyped up match for multiple reasons between Team Caliber and Optic Gaming. It's going to be the first part of our CWL debrief here. You know, our very own Mark Hannon, our producer, sat down with both teams, kind of asked them questions about the matchup. Let's take a look at what the players had to say before the big matchup on Thursday. This ended up being some quality trash talk from Team Caliber and Optic.
I think it was a mixture of us really wanting to prove a point and also TK kind of underestimating us. They took us kind of lightly. They didn't think we were going to be that good.
I think the Optic match felt like a scrim because of how everything was working out.
We came in like, oh, it's just a regular season league match. Like, they were going like it was COD Champs Grand Finals. I mean, it just shows how much those guys want it.
Yeah, they were extremely hyped when they beat us, and I understand, you know, you beat the top dogs, you're going to get hyped, but still got a lot more playing to do.
After that league match, everybody says, oh, Optic's the best, Optic's back, and then they lose to Red. So is Red the best team now? Or is Rise the best team for beating us?
Like, that's the thing. If there's a clear-cut best team in the game, you don't even think about other teams. You just think, hey, look, yeah, TK's the best by far right now. And I don't think anyone's thinking that right now.
I think they peaked, and they got away with it for the first 2 months when everyone was still kind of figuring out the game, and I think we'll come out and beat them again.
Wow, Damon, some choice words there. It's a pretty crazy rivalry. How'd you feel going into that match? Awesome, Damon.
Feeling delusional?
Yeah, I think he was. Damon, don't say anything if you're currently the worst player in your team. Thank you, Damon. All right, let's take a look now at the Division A standings as we're going to talk through this a bit. But that TK Optic match, so hyped up. You heard it from both sides. But ultimately, Optic does get the 3-0. Another team that 3-0'd TK in that same week was Rise Nation. Loony, you guys dominated in that series. You're sitting at 10-1 right now, 73.8% map win percentage. What did you think about the series with TK? Did it, I mean, was it a briefer series than you expected?
I think they just beat themselves in the vetoes. We went ahead and we wanted to give Zinni his chance for redemption on Forest, and we left it up for him, and they ended up picking Valk, which was, I think, the first time that we're going to see it.
Oh, that's right, because they were talking trash about who's the better AR on Arctic Forest
exactly,
last time. And TK won that the first time around, correct?
Yeah, accuracy almost made like records on us. I think he was on pace for like 50 while Zinni was on 20. So I was like, listen, I'll let you redeem yourself. We'll let them pick Forest with obviously the new pick system. since we added Valk, and it was up for them to pick, and they went with the Valk route, and I think that was a mistake. So I think they just beat themselves in their vetoes.
Well, you guys get it done, and you take that series in a swift 3-0. Optic obviously gets the 3-0 as well. We've heard enough from Damon at this point. Let's move on to Red Reserve. Josh, for you guys right now, it was a strong week. You guys go, what, 2-1?
Yeah.
I believe on the week. Who'd the one loss come to?
To Rise.
To Rise. Tell me a little bit about that series.
It's the same as the last 2 times we played in Twonish, yeah. Went to Game 5 once again and just crumbled in Game 5. We just everything. I think every Game 5 we've played as a team so far, we've lost. And every game we've lost in this league, it's also been a Game 5.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Really, every loss has been in Game 5.
Yeah,
oh
so
wow, well, that's tough.
just not clutching up really. If we're winning series, we're winning them quite comfortably, but we're just struggling when we get to the final hurdle.
Do you think there's a reason for that? Like with this particular roster, or is it just a little bit of unluckiness?
I don't even know, Twonish. It's hard to say. Like, I'd like to have the answers. Yeah, must be. I'd like to have the answers because I'd stop it from happening, but I just can't find them at the minute.
Well, then let's talk a little bit about then Team Caliber, the other team looking to be set up in the top 4. Unless I think I saw something that they would have to lose every single match, and Echo Fox would have to win every single match, which likely isn't going to happen. So now it's mostly a battle of seeds, at least with the top 4. Buzzo, let's go to you a little bit. I had some choice words, obviously, for Team Caliber, when I thought other teams had caught up. They end up going to what, 2 Game 5s at the 2 lowest teams in the division. They get 3-0'd by Optic, 3-0'd by Rise. What's going wrong with TK, at least in this past week?
Yeah, I don't know. Like in the past, all their matches, right? I think we were speaking about it earlier. All their matches for the first 2 events they even won, even all first few weeks in the leagues. Every game they have is close, right? Like I think every series goes to like a map 4, map 5. I don't know if it's they're getting comfortable because they know they probably should be making top 4. But I don't know. Is it the patch? I mean, I don't know what it is, but they have close games all the time, and I guess they're just sitting somewhere at a point where they're just cruising, I guess.
For you, Looney, I mean, have teams caught up now? Is that the big thing?
Yeah, I think teams caught up. I think that's fair to say. I think that usually always happens, even back in Black Ops 3 when my team was winning like back-to-back. It's just teams are going to catch up. That's just obvious. Optic's a slow-learning team, so they're going to catch up. And then other teams just are meshing well. I think roster moves happen that actually benefit some teams. And honestly, I just think that some of their players have been underperforming. I know Chino's been tweeting about it. So they just need to come back with the fire. And I just think, yeah, they used that excuse where Optic came out as it was a COD Champs game, and they came out as a league match. But, I mean, yeah, it's kind of their first time in the league, but you have to come out with the fire every single day. You want to set yourself up for a playoff bracket and stuff like that. You just have to want it more, and I think that's what shows the last 2 times Optics played TK. They just wanted it more.
All right. 700k league at the end of the day.
Yeah, no. I read some of those comments. I was like, what are you talking about? This is
I think if
a lot of money on the line.
I don't know. If you're not giving it all in a game, especially playing someone like Optic, I mean, while it's not a valid excuse, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just an excuse.
And I think Strem said it's harder to stay on top than be on top,
certainly
getting there. And I think that's what's happening.
I think for sure, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit to you, Buzzo, then about MindFreak right now, because obviously the top 4 dream's not really alive for the $500,000 playoff, but getting into stage 2, getting top 6, making sure you're not relegated is also huge. You want to be in stage 2, you want to be qualified for champs. What does this MindFreak team need to do just to make sure you're in that top 6, alleviate some stress at least?
I think we're all sitting at 3-8, us, Era, and Echo Fox. Echo Fox have a game in hand, so they've got 4, and us 2 have 3 games.
You've got like the same map count almost exactly as Era as well, right?
So we're all sitting pretty much the same. We lost to Era first time round 3-0, which is going to probably come back to bite us at the end of the day, somewhere along the line. I think the best way to sort of end that is just to beat them back 3-0. We beat Echo Fox 3-0 first time round, so that will help somewhere. Just their week 4 games, they got pretty hard games. I think they play Red, Optic, and TK, and then us on the Thursday. So they've got 3 hard games before us.
Well, I didn't realize actually. So we even on Trading Shots episode, I think goes live tomorrow or whatever day. Maybe tonight actually. But we talked about what team was going to get into the top 6, and we were basically arguing back, Benson and I, talking about MindFreak and Era. And then I didn't realize, actually, Looney, you mentioned it, that Echo Fox's lineup, who do they play? The 3 teams?
Optic, TK, and Red. They played 3 of the top 4.
So they're not really out of the woods either. So it's kind of a three-way fight. Really,
And I mean, they lost to MindFreak, so if MindFreak comes out with the same fire, they can have an 0-4 week and have an abysmal second week like they did the last time.
Yeah. I mean, I think they had the 1-in-12 map count really to close things out previously. But Echo Fox era, MindFreak going to be fighting at least for you. Nice, Loony, Josh. You guys are kind of sitting pretty right now, so you can be looking forward to playoff, kind of at least fighting to see where you're going to sit in that hierarchy of the top 4. But that'll do it at least for discussion on A. Let's hop and look at B for a bit, because Division B, the standings are a lot closer, especially around the midsection. You don't kind of have those clear-cut top 4. Everybody still kind of in the hunt right now outside of Epsilon. Josh, for you, who do you think is making top 4 out of these guys?
I think it's obvious. Luminosity are going to secure that first spot. If Envy come out with the same fire and like playing how good as they were in their first 2 weeks, they can easily secure first though. Like they put up a really good fight against LG. They choked a lot of maps. Splice should bounce back. They had the average 2 weeks, obviously having to play with Fellow and then Jerd coming in and having harder games. So I think it's them 3, and then it's all up in the air for the next spot. Like EG looked good, but then looked atrocious.
True.
United shouldn't be nowhere near as bad as they were in the first 2 weeks. They need to bounce back for their own sakes, like because they were just dreadful. And then who's the last team? FaZe obviously look like the best team in the group sometimes, and then they looked average as also.
True.
So
No, it's true.
It's hard to say.
I guess what I want to know from you, Looney, do you think it stays Luminosity, Envy, FaZe, Splice, or do you think EG, Unilateral, E United kind of make a move?
I think it stays the same. I think LG and Envy will battle for the 1 and 2 spot, and I think FaZe and Splice will battle for the 3-4. I don't see either Splice or FaZe getting in that top 2, and I don't see Envy or LG dropping off. They just look way too hot, way too good. I know FaZe beat LG, but I think LG will come back, and they could. Them and Envy have the potential to go undefeated.
It's been wild to see the success really of Envy as well, considering how they started the year. But what's going on with the United? Like why?
It's kind of what I mentioned earlier. It's a role thing. I think Silly in the past has been an AR. Our City's obviously was known as like one of the best NV4s in IW, and Clay's always been known as like one of the best ARs. So I think E United just needs to kind of get their roles together. I think they have Clay back at an AR, so it's roles issues. Roles issues can cause a lot of things. I think that's what helped TK win the first event too, is their roles just came into the game, worked out perfectly.
Okay.
I think another big thing with them is they need to like show a bit of passion as well. Like Clay, everyone knows when he gets going, he's unreal, and like they just look so half-assed in their games. Like just obviously when you're playing not winning and it's not going well, it's hard, but you need to bounce back and get back into it because he's just not going to turn around.
Seems like most of the passion I've heard has been kind of them at each other.
Going at each other,
Been the tough part, but I'm hoping they can turn it around and at least make things interesting. Damon, any thoughts kind of on the E United situation currently?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Definitely.
Thank you, Damon.
Nice.
Idiot. That mannequin looks incredible. I thought when I saw it from a distance when I came up, we first set up, I was like, that's Damon Marlowe.
It's bigger than me.
You look tiny next to him.
Vinny always makes some jokes like you have a plank body. Like he's being serious.
Damon's been hitting the gym, man. He's probably sleeping right now. Probably up gaming too late. Damn. God. All right, so let's talk. Next, I want to look through. There was a recent post on the COD Competitive Reddit from Sledgehammer Games talking about an update. This was an update that had a lot of things players were looking forward to for quite some time and very excited about. Let's kind of go through it. First, I just want to talk about the ADS transition times overall. You guys have had the chance to play the game a bit this weekend, obviously. Actually, Buzzo, I'll start with you on the end. How'd you feel overall just about the ADS change? Was it super noticeable?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely noticeable. The subs, the PPSH, it was already a pretty good gun, right? Everyone's sort of running 3-1 at the moment, meta-wise, so 3 subs, 1 AR. And I think it's going to stay the same, maybe even, I mean, it's a bit far-fetched to say 4 subs, but it's pretty damn good. So
at least on Valkyrie, it'll probably be the only 4 sub.
Yeah.
Now, do you think anything else will go 4 sub? Like it's something like, I don't know, like a
I've always liked London.
Yeah.
I've liked that as a 4 sub, but I think it's viable, obviously, to have an AR.
But not drastic enough to change where all of a sudden you're going to see
but it is nice. It is definitely noticeable. And even on the ARs, it's, yeah.
Okay. Looney, do you get a chance to try out the MP40? Actually, let's talk. Okay, so yeah, the MP40. Do you get a chance to try it out yet, or has it been mostly PPSH still?
I haven't tried it out, but in Money 8's Nick Classic has been running a lot, and I mean, it seems like it's working out for him. I mean, he's always that guy that'll give it a shot. You know, he's back in like Black Ops 3, he'd use a Kuda and stuff like that. So he's always the go-to guy to, you know, try to figure stuff out for other players. Because if you see him going off with them, like, yo, this might be nice. Let me try it.
Yeah,
But
well, I think
he's always the one that's open for that.
he tweeted, I believe it was right after the update announcement live, and Classic tweeted like something like, "This is going to save my career," and I was like, well, I guess that's good. But Josh, any thoughts overall on the update? You think it's going to be a solid thing for your team?
I think it's not going to change much for us, but I think it's going to benefit a lot of players. Like we was talking about United, I think it's going to help them because you've got like people like Prestini, people who tend to run around a lot and like just get caught sprinting. Obviously, it benefits them a little bit. People like TJ Halley, I think it'll help
People
him
like
even
to
more.
sprint and snap.
Like he snap, he doesn't aim, like he's always ready to snap. It'll help people like him. But I don't think it changed it drastically where you're going to see certain teams get insanely good because of it. But it's obviously a good update.
Yeah, I think the only person I saw that didn't seem thrilled about the change, I think, was Raiden. I think he was actually your team was the only. Well, that. To be
Most
fair,
AR
though,
players.
yes, exactly. He's an AR player. He plays quite slow.
Yeah.
I'm sure this
Just
is a little bit more terrifying for him. But overall, no, I'm excited for it. I mean, we have the new map that's come into it. We have the updates as well. You know, we've had some trash talk between some of the top teams. It's getting excited. Things are starting to heat up. I know we're still very early in stage 1. We haven't really hit the halfway point yet. Sorry, in the league we haven't hit the halfway point yet. But this has been pretty awesome. All right, well, let's move forward now. On to player intels. This is going to be maybe a little less COD focused for some of you, but we're going to talk personal matters. And Josh, I want to start with you. It's sort of a two-part question. I don't know that I've ever asked you or heard the reasoning behind it. If you can speak to it, like what kind of happened at the end of last year that you ended up leaving Epsilon? What was the big reason the change had to happen?
I mean, I got dropped, but it's more like...
Well, I mean, I guess the question should be more like, what went down with the team? Was it a skill thing? Was it a bumping of the
More
heads?
just a clash of me and a different person in the team, and then it's just like, realistically, looking forward, it wasn't going to last very long, like, and then obviously it was a disappointing year, realistically. Like, we had a few standout moments, like Anaheim, but then Champs was disappointing, Season 2 was disappointing, but then we showed so much potential, so it's just like a rough period, and then like Champs went downhill. Obviously it was awful for me losing to the team I left at the start of the year to get knocked out at Champs, and then it just wasn't going to last really.
Well, it sort of worked out for you.
Just a little.
It's your team has looked a lot better. I guess, what do you think is the problem overall with Epsilon? You have a lot of history with the guys. Like, what's wrong with them right now? And also, does it feel kind of good to get dropped and then watch them get smoked so far this year?
I mean, it feels really good. At the start of the year, like, as everyone in our scene knew, like, I wanted them to do awful. Like, I didn't want to scrim them, I didn't want to help them at all. I wanted, watching them play, I wanted them to lose, but it's got to the point now, they've lost enough. I kind of feel bad. Like, just win a series, like...
Please, just one, maybe?
Yeah. I think the main problem is, like, they just don't have outcut leader. Like, when they played with me, like Vortex, and like he was insane last year. Like compared to how he is like this year, like individually performance-wise, he was like sometimes MVP for us, and he's been underperforming a lot. And like they just haven't got confidence. They're a massive confidence team. Dave, like you've seen from the interview, everyone's watched. Like they've got no confidence, and it's just massive for COD. You can't go into a game having no confidence. You're just gonna get destroyed.
Well, let's see if they can turn it around. I mean, well, it's too late in stage 1. They're not turning anything around. They're 0-7 right now.
They're an April team, remember?
Yeah. We got a couple months until we get there. Next up, I had a couple tweets prepared for Karma. I'm glad he showed up.
Unbelievable.
Thanks, Karma.
He's ready.
Look at his
He's
dumb
happy to be
face.
here, honestly.
Let's look at the
smiling.
tweets, though. The tweets did make me laugh the other day. So they Scump has a huge performance. He clutches up against Team Caliber, and Damon, they go out to dinner, probably at Cheesecake Factory, because that's the only place they go. And says Seth won't even buy us dinner after that performance, with a lot of smileys. And Seth, I love this, no handouts. Win me playoffs, then you eat for free. I'm curious, I want to hear from you guys. Like, how frequently do you kind of go out for dinner with the squad? Is it, do you guys have full team dinners, like bonding experiences?
I mean,
we went, what was it? Was it Saturday?
How do you figure out the check? Does one person pay, or do you guys all split it?
We split it. We went to Texas to Brazil. No one's sharing that check.
Oh, that's
There's
probably
no way someone's paying for one check.
Yeah, that's, what is that? Like $80 a plate?
Yeah.
Is that the one where you have the green and
buffet.
red? And you eat forever?
Yeah, the green and red.
I've only been one time to one, and I left on like a bed. They had to take me out of there. Buzzo, what about you guys? You guys go to dinner? Who's paying for the meal?
No, we're the same. We split. Yeah.
probably
I know we're pretty simple. Well, I mean, I like good cooked food, right? Like I ate a lot of food for gym and everything, but they're pretty simple. The rest of them, Chipotle, cheesecake.
So like most Call of Duty players.
Yeah, they're like, oh, let's go somewhere. Cheesecake,
Chipotle.
Chipotle. I'm like, nah.
You guys have to go to Bibimbap.
Oh, bibimbap's
heard about
incredible. I eat that. I think Jack and I usually have about twice a week.
What is it?
It's basically it's like an Asian Chipotle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like similar.
Oh, they like Panda Express as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right across from bibimbap, I
Yeah,
believe.
you might as well make that trip
Sorry,
upstairs.
they're the three. Panda Express, Chipotle, and Cheesecake Factory. That's the...
All right, well, that's
Move on.
yeah. Well, I was excited for David to
Boring.
chat with him a little bit about that, but he's not prepared. Okay, Looney, let's move on to you next. Not the exact same situation, but similar to Josh, you obviously have a change coming out of last year heading into this year. What sort of fell apart with that Rise team for you?
I think it was kind of like an ego thing. I think when I first hopped on board after Slacked and them left me, we kind of instantly knew, all right, Looney, you're the respawn guy. Bryce, you're the S&D guy. Obviously, Vegas went really well, but that was just because Bryce was like clearly the best robot OSA.
Yeah,
And it was funny.
best event of his life. That's
The patch came out for the OSA, and he was still online streaming, and everyone would tweet us or like in the Skype chat like, "Why is he using that? No one's gonna be using that." And then we come to Vegas, and it's like the best gun in the game. So I think after that, I think egos. I think they kind of. I think Tyler kind of just stopped listening to me. Really, like anything I say to him, he'd be like, "Nah, you're wrong. Like
okay.
I'm right."
Interesting.
And obviously, Champs is kind of like, "Oh, thank God, at least we got fourth." Some of us we got a paycheck.
I picked you top 4. I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
I think I was the only person on the planet, but I got lucky.
even after that, we knew we were gonna break up. I mean, Yulia came to me like, "Let's be a team of 2," and obviously TJ was like the top prospect, and we were gonna let Tyler go at the time, but obviously contracts and stuff like that didn't make it happen, so we stuck with him, and I think it was still an ego clash with me and Tyler, and after not going to Montreal and getting those pro points, and then losing to EG in that 2K, it just went downhill. If you were in my call, I was screaming,
I believe it.
yelling at him, and then obviously that happened, and then Christmas Eve was probably the craziest day of my life.
Is that when all the changes
Everything
down,
just started happening.
Yeah,
and I was just like,
perfect time to deal with that.
What?
Right?
Yeah.
Holidays, and you're trying
I
to
was
figure out
literally
your
getting
team.
to Palm Springs to my uncle's house, and I just get DMs. Can you call me? Can you call me? I'm like, no, I can't. Text. And it all worked out. Zinni decided to leave E6 and join us, and then obviously Gunless got dropped from Echo Fox for my teammate. I was honestly going into it. I heard so many bad things about Gunless. We weren't even gonna pick him up. We were gonna go with Goonjar and just say screw it. But then we just kept talking, and thank God I picked him up.
Well, because there was a lot of there was sort of a negative connotation with Gunless stemming from last year. How everything went down with the United roster. I know he went from like a the sort of the darling, the all-star, the guy that comes out of nowhere, to all of a sudden like everyone just thinks he has an ego.
Exactly.
But he has certainly redeemed himself. And there were some question marks about Gunless's ability going to boots on the ground, because his movement was he was one of the best when it came to like the engagements with the slide, like some of the stuff he would do last year. You mentioned earlier how important Gunless is to this team as a flex player. Can you maybe for newer people or people who don't understand that term, like what is it about Gunless that makes him such a special part of the roster?
I mean, every single team starts off with a main AR. A guy's gonna run a main AR in every single map unless it's a 4-sub map. And then you obviously have your main subs. And then with the current meta where it goes from 2-2, as in 2 ARs, 2 subs, to 1 AR, 3 subs, that's when that third sub comes in, and that's where Pierce comes in. And when we first picked him up, I asked him, are you comfortable running with a second AR? Because at the time it was FG meta, people are running 2 FGs.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, yeah, I'm totally comfortable with. And I think he's developed that's to one of the best flex players. I mean, I think that's where it stems. I think that's where teams like Echo Fox are struggling. I think Yuli's struggling with the flex role. I think that's where teams just struggle. Like, if you can beat them in a veto, you can force them to play a 3-sub map or a 2 AR map, then you can start winning the vetoes, and I think that's where Pierce comes in, where in any single map he can go off for us.
Well, yeah, no, it's huge. Thanks for breaking that down, but it's been obviously similar to Josh. A change happens, and it works out very well for you. Some people might not realize, I mean, you've played under Rise, the first time was all the way back in Ghost, right?
Yeah.
You guys got top 8 at that Champs?
Yeah, we got top 8 at Champs.
What was that, Weeds, Pac-Man,
and Fears.
Fears, that's right, yeah. That's
way back.
Way back, yeah.
Yeah, I've only played for Rise, and then I went to TK, then I went to Envy, and I came back to Rise.
All right, well, hey, it's been awesome to see what you're doing with your organization. The team has been performing amazing. You're number 1 right now, maybe the number 1 team in the world. We'll have to wait and see. But you guys...
that's not declared into a major.
Yeah, no. We're going to find this major, because there's a lot of teams, I think, that have the ability to win right now.
100%.
But, all right, let's keep it moving on. Buzzo, you're up next. I kind of want to ask you, so you guys came in for your first 2 weeks, and week 1 you were all right. Week 2 you really improved, though. Like, very quickly, you seemed to be hard point, you got figured out. Then you went back for 2 weeks, right? You go back to Australia. Was there some worry that you just end up kind of where you started after taking that 2-week break?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be honest, we didn't scrim once.
That's what I was worried would happen.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there watching streams, and it sounds so brutal, but I don't care anymore. Like, I'm watching people streaming from our region. I'm just like, wow, like I'm getting dumber. Like my whatever I've learned has been just getting extracted by the second as I'm watching, right? So.
Oh, I can understand that.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't play. I think everybody sort of played, sort of bots and just like stuff like that.
Yeah.
I jumped on. I was trying to play 8s all the time. I'd write in this little chat that I made up on Discord with all the APAC players, and 8s at everyone, no reply. 8s at everyone, no reply. Every day I'm just trying to play, nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I just chilled, kept my shot on. We came back here. I wanted to come out early, but that didn't end up happening. But yeah, no, from week 1 to week 2, I don't know what it was. I think it was just us getting a win that sort of
Get the ball rolling.
get the
Confidence.
ball rolling. Yeah, it was, but the thing was, we beat Vitality, right? And no disrespect to them, it's not like we're beating an Optic or you guys or Red.
That's fair.
We beat just a team who people the casters bottom 2 teams, us and them and MindFreak. So we beat them, and it wasn't like we smashed them. It was just like a standard win. And then we come out. I think the next game was Optic, and we're like, all right, here we go. And we just come out 100-point club Optic, and it was like, wow. Okay, I expected the reverse scores.
That was one of my
But I'm like, all right, yep, let's go. Good stuff.
Well, I guess the main reason I kind of want to hear you break it down is, so you go from week 1 to week 2, really changes.
Yep.
Now, do you think for you, what is it, 5 to 6 now? You come in this
Yeah.
week. Do you think you're going to see similar improvements and start to make a run again?
I think so, yeah. I think, honestly, like the jet lag comes in, you've got your schedule. You were saying before, you're sort of waking up, because you got a late start, so you sort of go to sleep late, right? So you sort of overcome the jet lag and the energy thing, and then you sort of start relearning that you can't just make, dumb plays, right? Because back at home watching streams, you're sort of watching and they're just running out, and that's what we're used to doing. So I think by the second week, again, we should be relearning everything again. I think that's our main thing. We're there, but we're not there, sort of thing.
All right. Well, I'm curious if you guys can turn it around, because you're fighting for top 6, like we mentioned earlier in the show. Now, this is something I want to kind of speak with all of you about. I don't know if scapegoat's the right word, but I feel like all of you have been on teams where you aren't always in a position where you're putting up the best stats, and if there are struggles, like I feel like you guys have been the ones that have been targeted on rosters in the past. I guess I want to hear from you guys what it's like to play in your roles. We're not the one that's necessarily going double positive and all the casters are talking about and stuff. Like, Looney, let's start with you. Like, is it frustrating from the casters, from the community, to sort of deal with that? I mean, you play with like a player like Octane who's going 2-0. We talk about him constantly, but we may not mention Looney as much. What do you think is the reason behind that?
I mean, I just think that every team, you can't really have 4 players over like a crazy. KD, I think the only team that's done it is like Complexity at Champs and Ghosts, where they had like ridiculous, where like, all 4 of them went off. You're always going to have a dirty work player. You're always going to have one that's going to underperform in some maps. I mean, that dude can end up going off in another map. I think you've seen that with us, Josh and Buzzo. Like one map, like, oh, they're dirty work, TJ Halley's going off or Raided's going off. But then we can have our maps too, And I think it's not really frustrating. I get it. I mean, you're not going to be talking in basketball. You're not going to be talking about like the worst stats, but he might go 1-3 or something.
Yeah,
he set the perfect screen for LeBron James. You know what I mean? Like,
I love
it's always going to be like that.
I love when people get on me sometimes. Well, there's been the formal meme at times, or if all you talked about was like Octane that map. I'm like, you know what? If Kobe was dropping 80 in the game, guess what the announcers would be talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Kobe dropping 80 in the game. Like, that's just sort of what you highlight as it's going on. But I want to hear another side of it too, because Josh, I remember like if we went back to Black Ops 3, I remember there were times where I would get on you all the time because you'd be double negative, and I'd be like, what the hell is Josh doing? But this year, you've actually started, I feel like, see a resurgence. Like stats, I picked you as the MVP 2 weeks ago. I think your second week, because you were dominating. What's a little bit different right now for you?
I mean, it's just honestly just like finally starting to focus on myself a little bit more. Like I've always obviously been that in-game leader, and I've used it as an excuse in the past where I've just played awful. And like, there's a point where you have to realise you can play bad, but then you're not going to beat the best teams if you're playing bad. Like you can't use that excuse. So I've just started focusing on myself a bit more, and obviously it's working out. Like if I'm playing better, it's more confidence for me, and then because I'm the in-game leader, it just spreads throughout the whole team. I'm calling out more, I'm coming more, and it goes throughout the whole team. So I feel like if I perform, it helps out our whole team a lot more than just me playing average and talking.
It's also like team dependent. I mean, obviously back when I first started.
Has that been on me the entire show? Like, where did that even come from? It's probably from the mannequin as I was setting it up.
But it's team dependent when it comes to it too. I mean, obviously on my come up, I was like a Slayer on Rise, on TK. Back then I was dropping like 50 on Optic. And then to start this season, I was like, after Dallas, I was like statistically one of the best subs. But that was obviously when Teach was running second AR and Tyler was behind me. So then now that T transitioned into sub role, I see how good, how talented he is. I'm like, I'm going to let him shine.
Let him run.
Exactly. So it's also team dependent. I mean, I'm sure if a team set me and Josh or Buzzo up to be a superstar player, we have the talent, obviously.
Someone's got to do it, right? Like
Someone just has to do it.
You have different roles, just like a major sport. You have different roles.
When I have an 18-year-old that's just running around killing thing, I'll get your spawns, buddy.
Yeah, right. I do want to ask you about, you mentioned the in-game leader thing, and I know we had, I believe it was a listen in on Arden Forest a while back, where you were holding the flag in a standoff, and you were like literally a general, just telling you do this, you do this, you do that. As an in-game leader, is it a lot more difficult at times to shine when you are, I guess, do you feel added pressure when you're kind of directing the units around? Does it make it harder to shine at times?
It kind of does. I mean, because sometimes you're just so much focused more on things that your teammates aren't. Like, I always say that sometimes, like, if you spawn out, why don't you say it? Like, as an in-game leader, I'm always like, yo, I spawned out, look behind you. Like, some players just don't do that. They're just spawning in and just going.
That small stuff is huge.
So it's like, I think some people are just not used to it. And like in S&D, you never want to play call around you, I feel like. You never want to play, listen, I'm doing this, come behind me. It's like, all right, you do this, I'll plant your bomb. Or like on defense, like you do this. Like, I like falling to like transition to CS. Like, there's some rounds where you see him do like, I'm doing what I want, I have the backup, but most of the time he's just directing the troops, and that's kind of what you have to do in S&D. You have to be making the mid-round decisions. I think are obviously the most important, unless your beginning strategist wins you the round in 10 seconds.
All right, well, interested to hear, because again, you don't always hear it from the in-game leader's perspective, or the guy doing the dirty work. So thanks, guys, for sort of breaking that down a bit. But let's keep going through the show. But I love that stuff. But let's talk now Pro League Declassified. So I actually want to show the Week 6 schedule. So there's going to be some big matches coming up. And I know for Josh and for Loony, it's less about getting top 4 and more about just securing what seed you can.
Yeah, especially us. We clinch, though.
Yeah, so
we're strictly seed right now.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just seed. I mean, let's take a look, though, at this. So are there any matches that really, I mean, the thing that's going to stand out the most for you is the first match on Wednesday. That's Era MindFreak, because that could likely determine for you, Buzzo, whether or not you're playing in relegation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you had to play, did you play in relegation last year? Were you okay both?
No, so the first time round, I think we got, because it was groups of 4.
No, Cloud9 got 4th, didn't they?
Yeah, so we beat Cloud9 the first time round 3-0, and then it was like we were already 3rd, so they beat us like 3-2 or something. We just didn't even really care. It was coming off the first map, and they're shooting laser guns at us, and we're like, oh, these guys aren't even taking it.
Oh, I remember that. It was
one of those games, like, we're already 3rd, we can't get any higher, we can't go any lower. It was like whatever.
Yeah.
We came 3rd then, and then the next stage we came 4th, which there was obviously no relegation. So.
It's tough. I mean, we don't know exactly, because Division B still has to come back. So, I mean, you don't really know. You want to fight for the highest seed, obviously. But you have no idea who you're going to be matching up against, especially with Division B. I mean, the only two things, like you guys mentioned, that are sort of set are that the 1-2 will be probably some combination of NV and LG. But outside of that, who knows?
I think the biggest thing is fighting for the 3rd, 4th, right? Because that team will be playing LG.
Yeah,
that's true.
I don't think anybody wants to be.
So who's 4th right now is TK, right?
TK.
Yeah.
Yep.
So are you 1 game ahead or 2 game ahead?
We're ahead. I think we're the same games, but it's
they're a half game.
Half game.
Something like that, yes.
Okay. So it's going to be tight. So that will be crucial, because you don't want to play LG first.
No, yeah, that's what we said.
You're playing for $500,000. There's only 8 teams, so it's not like an open event where you have pool play and a lot of teams.
Oh, you got the easy bracket. It's like.
Yeah, you're going up against the Juggernaut like right away. So you definitely want to push as far as you're able to. But we'll have a lot of big matches coming up. But I do now want to talk a little bit, sort of start leaning towards Atlanta, because obviously we've had months now in the Pro League. It's been a while since our last open tournament at New Orleans. I want to recap kind of for viewers at home our first couple of events. So let's first I want to look at the top 8 from Dallas. This is going all the way back to, December. Team Caliber, Splice, Optic, FaZe, Echo Fox, E United, Luminosity, and it's wild. I think it's the same for NOLA as well, that Echo Fox and also United both get top 6 at both major events.
Yeah, United's been talking about that.
So we show NOLA then next.
They get to winter semis, they lose, and they lose right back top 6.
Oh,
every time.
That's unreal though. I mean,
they're like 4 events in a row.
That happened at Champs as well, didn't it?
Yeah, 4 events in a row. Yeah. 4 events in a row, they lose in winter semis and then just lose out.
So it was Team Caliber win. That was a crazy final against LG as they got 2nd. Rise Nation then in 3rd. That was your guys' kind of breakout performance after only teaming for 10 days, something like that before. Red Reserve got 4th. So you guys have just only improved probably.
Our pool was 2nd, 3rd, 4th.
Oh, that's right. That was that crazy pool. And then it was 5th, 6th, Echo Foxy United again, and then FaZe and EG rounded out the top 8. So that's how it broke down then for the first 2 open events. Now, Atlanta is around the corner. We're hyped for that. We're getting excited. Before we start talking about Atlanta and potential pulls, let's roll. We got a bit of a hype piece here for Atlanta. Let's check it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, welcome. We are live from the CWL Atlanta Open. Atlanta, stand up. Oh, what's going on?
Have you ever seen anything like
Got
this?
to fight in, they've got to push through. Oh my God!
This is the CWL Atlanta Open.
That Bryce thing is hilarious. It was me and him trashing. We were talking trash.
Oh, to each other? No,
Yeah. It was, we went up 2-0, and right before we played them, Pierce obviously teamed with him. He's like, trust me, veto fours. All right, I'm going to trust you. We played him on docks, and Otto just literally had full shrieks. We were down like 10-1. And so he gets up, obviously Bryce, hype guy. Everyone knows him, kind of like Clay. And he starts, you know, high-fiving his teammate, and he looks, and he wanted to see it. He wanted to look at TJ trying to get in his head. And I was talking to like Zinni or something, so I'm like this, and he sees me, and we just started yelling at each other. He's like, we're here. I'm like, what's up then? We start shooting each other at Bravo stage, and we closed out 4th hardpoint, and that's when the famous gunless, I don't know if you've seen that, when he just up like, you dropped me, you dropped me.
Yeah, no, I love
So
that.
it's just funny.
Gunless is like he looks like a much bigger dude once he like gets up
And
like
he
that.
was, like,
Puts his
testing
arms
his
up.
bump.
Yeah, he looks like a much scarier individual once
Yeah.
he gets a bit hyped. But no, I mean, from what I've heard, I mean, Atlanta's shaping up to be one of the biggest events we've had from a spectator standpoint. I think we're all excited to get back to an open event as you guys fight for the 200 grand. I'm really pumped for it. But what I do want to now take a look at is first for you guys at home. Basically, I think this is the first time we've talked about it. It's probably out there somewhere in a blog post, but let's look at how the breakdown works for seeding here, at least for pool play. So we'll take a look through it. So Pool A is going to be your 1st from Division A, 4th from Division B, 5th from Division A, and 8th from Division B. I'm not going to read all of these off. You can kind of take a look at it because we're gonna fill in these gaps. But the main thing then, Division B we already know because we're pulling their seeds from the 2 weeks prior because they're going to be coming back after Atlanta. So that's how they're going to slot in right now as they fill in. Now, we won't know where Division A is going to fall until the end of this week. That's when we're going to be able to fill them out. But what I wanted to have made is what it would look like right now. So if nothing changes and you keep the exact same positions that you have basically, which isn't out of the question, honestly. Like the top 4
It's likely.
is pretty likely it could stay the same. Now, again, this is purely hypothetical. This is just in the moment, so don't tweet this out saying, hey, these are the pools. But let's take a look at what it would be if everything does stay the same, and we can kind of talk about pool of death, what we think looks the scariest. So let's leave this up for a while. So non-official pool placement based on current standing. So Pool A would be Rise for you there, Looney, Splice, Echo Fox, and Epsilon. Pool B would be LG, TK, EG, and Vitality. Pool C would be Optic, FaZe, Era, United. Pool D would be Envy, Red Reserve, Unilad, and MindFreak. I mean, to me, just looking at it very quickly, they seem pretty balanced. Is there anything that jumps off the page to you guys that looks really stacked?
Pool C has every NA.
Yeah. And
that's,
We'll
yeah.
you got United are going to come out a lot better at an open event where they can get the hype going and whatnot, so that'll be different.
Yeah,
I guess it
especially
depends.
since the Twins are coming out, and that's their.
Oh, yeah,
they
that's
have
where
to
they
defend their
started.
championship.
Yeah, that's where they
at
started.
Atlanta.
That's true. And another thing to point out, we're kind of in
Absolutely.
TK's backyard as well, and with the way TK's been
My
playing
backyard,
this year.
10 minutes away from.
Oh, really? Really? As well? Okay, well, TK's going to be looking to three-peats, one of the stories there. But, again, those aren't official pools, but just what it would look like if A stays the same, which, I mean, honestly, there's...
Which is, I think that's why me and Optic are fighting for that 1st seed.
That's true.
No one wants to jump in a pool with FaZe and United. You never know what's going to happen there.
That's true. No, it's very, very true. All right, well, let's get to our next segment on the show. This is going to be the community questions. You guys will reach out and have some questions for the guys. MLG will tweet it out with the hashtag CWLPS4, and we'll get your guys' questions on Twitter. Well, of course, first up, the question I had is for Karma. All right, so hashtag MLG Hot Mic. For Karma, what is Optic's biggest weakness right now?
Don't answer if it's you.
Damn it, if you're the biggest weakness currently in Optic Gaming, just say nothing.
At least he admits it now.
Yeah, he admits it. Thank you. I think you're the weakest player, too. I'm kidding. Damn it, I love you.
It's the first step to improvement.
It's true. That is the first step. Next question. This is going to be for Looney. To be a top team in the Pro League, is there anything to improve? Does that even make sense? To be a top team in the Pro League, is there anything to
I
improve?
think he means like we're a top team right now.
Yeah, yeah.
What could you improve on? Yeah, at first I read that, I was like, that's not even a question. But yeah, so you guys top team. What can you guys improve on right now?
I think respawn. I mean, obviously it's 3 of the 5 game modes. You can always improve. I mean, even in S&D, you have to revamp strats. I mean, everyone knows that VODs are open. You know, you go into a veto system and like, listen, I know they're 8-1 in this map, but we know everything that they do. And it's kind of like what Red did to TK. They were like 12-1. Like Red's like, nah, we'll play on Forest. Hold these triple nades right where you always play. So it's you always got to revamp your strategies. You got to be. It's kind of like a mind game with the other team. You know, what are you gonna do? That's why I think you see more smokes. You see more constant smokes. Like, listen, I'm gonna smoke this every single round, and you're not gonna know what we're gonna do with it. So it's you can always improve, man, every single day.
Okay. Well, you guys have been incredible. I'm excited to see as you continue to improve, because I think the ceiling for your team's unreal, which is wild to say considering you're sitting at #1 right now. Buzzo, next one's for you, buddy. Why are you so handsome? And can we get a peek of those abs? Please don't take your damn.
Please do not.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
I need some handiwork like this, like some.
Yeah, right?
Here, or something.
Here, we can
Honestly,
show.
ever since
Let's show
living here,
Damon's
they're not-
abs. Does
they're not-
Damon have abs?
Let's take a pic.
Don't drop them.
Let's take a pic.
Oh, he does have a six-pack under that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is getting weird.
Yeah.
That's okay. Someone's going to do something just scary with that, with a little bit of Photoshop and some editing skills. But, Josh, there were no questions for you. Tuesday schedule. Now we're going to move on.
Poor Josh.
No, there was one question, but I forgot what it was, and I didn't include it. I'm sorry. Hot mic. That's what we're doing right now. I don't know why I yelled hot mic, because I saw the graphic at the top. Yeah, yeah. Hot mic. Okay, that's
the schedule.
schedule of matches.
Tuesday.
You guys are here for Hot Mic, but also for the Pro League. So we're kicking it off with Vitality versus Optic Gaming, followed by MindFreak Team Caliber, Vitality Red Reserve, Optic Gaming Echo Fox, and Era Eternity versus Rise Nation to close out the night. So you'll be the final match there, Loony. Yeah. But that's what we're going to get into. But then our final segment of the show, it is Last Stand. Typically, I look for kind of a controversial topic you guys can kind of discuss, but with the announcement that Jack Courage Dunlop is leaving us to pursue a career in full-time streaming, it's going to be a Jack-centric question. So for this final question, what is your least favorite thing about Jack Courage Dunlop? The roast of Jack Courage Dunlop. Buzzo, we'll start with you.
I'll end it.
Okay, you can end it.
Least favorite thing. God, I don't even know.
He looks like Excite. And
that was honestly, yeah, that was getting a bit old.
Yeah,
that was getting a bit old. I was like, all right.
Is there anything else I can think of? The bear?
Yeah, no, you got me there. That's
okay.
We'll go with that.
Okay. Well, we'll go. Josh, you got anything?
To be honest, I'm just glad he's gone.
Yeah.
It's been coming. So
Yeah,
I'm just glad it's happened.
Let's get him out of here.
Yeah.
Looney?
Damon,
Oh, Damon first.
if you hate Jack, stay silent. Yeah, same.
Looney, what about you?
Honestly, man, you should leave with him.
Oh, come on!
Ooh.
Oh, I thought we were going to roast Jack. I actually didn't see that one coming. Oh, thank you.
Sitting there, it's like, yep.
Yeah, no.
Winning gotta be better.
Looney's a... Oh, God damn. Looney,
He wasn't ready.
He's told me that. I actually wasn't at all. I thought you were going to have some great roast of Jack. Now I've got to leave as well.
I mean, he's an entertainer first.
He is an entertaining guy. No, but Jack, we love you. We're going to miss you, but also I hate you and your giant bowling ball head. Guys, that's...
You're not Ninja.
Yeah, that's... No, he's not. That's going to do it for Hot Mic, guys. We've got a lot of incredible matches here to come with Division A. We're rounding it out, and then right around the corner is Atlanta. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you, viewers at home, for watching the show. Enjoy some Call of Duty action.